To install the Cisco Unified Communications Manager IM and Presence server, you'll start off by deploying the OVF or OVA file provided by Cisco. We're going to assume that you're familiar with that process and not cover that here. If you are not familiar with that process, please refer to cisco.com for appropriate documentation on performing those steps. As we launch the Unified Communications Manager IM and Presence Installation Wizard, we're going to be prompted whether we want to do a media test. And I'm going to skip the media test. I find that they are more problematic and unnecessary. Plus, I know the media that I have is good. So we're going to hit skip. And we're going to walk through the installation wizard. Now, this is very similar to installation wizards that you've done for Unified Communications Manager, for Unity Connection, and for most of the other Cisco collaboration software suites. I'm going to speed up the installation process wherever it sits for a few minutes and takes a little time, because otherwise this would be an hour-long video. It takes me roughly an hour to do an IM and Presence server installation. In this window, we're being asked which product we want to deploy. And this media only has one product, and the product has been selected for you, and that is the Cisco Unified Communications Manager IM and Presence service. So we're going to select OK and continue. It's going to tell us that there are no versions of the software currently installed on the hard drive, which makes sense because this was a new OVA that we deployed. And it says the version on this DVD is 10.5.2. So you want to proceed with the install, we're going to say yes. That is the version that we expect. We're not going to be doing any during installation upgrades. It's asking us if we want to perform the platform configuration or skip it and do it later. I'm going to go ahead and say proceed because I do have the platform information handy. The installer is going to advise me that this is a basic installation and does not ask us for any imported data. So other than the basic configuration, it's going to make all of the assumptions necessary for a successful installation. We'll select continue to continue. We're going to select our time zone, and I'm going to be in the New York time zone where I'm located here, and select OK. It's going to tell us that NIC, speed, and duplex in a virtual machine is determined by the host, and they do not need to be configured by the guest. So please select continue to proceed with the installation. It asks if we want to change our MTU size. We do not. It asks if we want to use DHCP. We do not, so we're going to define a host name. Our host name is going to be IMP01, and we've already created a DNS entry for that. The IP address will be 10.10.210.16 with a mask of 255.255.2550, and our gateway is 10.10.10.254. We'll click OK to continue with the installation process. It asks if we want to enable a DNS client, and this is very important on the IM and Presence server, so we're going to say yes, and our primary DNS server is 10.10.210.6. We do not have a secondary DNS server, although I would recommend that you do this in a production environment. Our domain is going to be cisco.lab. Click OK to continue. We're going to enter the platform administration username and password, and I've adopted a standard of platform admin, and we'll go ahead and put a administrator password in here. And then we will confirm it. Click OK to continue. We're going to enter certificate information, and I'm going to make up some fictitious data here that we're going to use. So we'll say plural site. Our unit is information technology. Our location will be Columbus, Ohio, since that's where I'm located. And notice that I'm spelling out the state Ohio. I've had some certificate providers refuse to issue certificates for the abbreviation OH. Again, please make sure this information accurately reflects the applicable counterpart values for your environment. And click OK to continue. We're warned that this is not the first node in the cluster. You must configure this server on the first node before you can proceed. And this is a change. In previous versions of IM and Presence, and I think it was 9 and then going back into the earlier CUPS releases, the Presence cluster was truly that. It was a cluster of its own. And there was a publisher and a subscriber, just like on the Unified Communications Manager platform. With the Presence server now in version 10, we use the publisher of the Unified Communications Manager, and the Presence server is simply a subscriber. So we're going to go ahead and click OK, It asks us if we want to proceed after the network connectivity test or if we want to pause, and we do not want to pause, so we'll say no, which will allow it to proceed. It's now asking us information about our CUCM publisher. Our CUCM publisher is CUCM pub. The IP address is 10.10.210.10. The security password we will enter now, and then we will confirm it. It's going to validate that I haven't typed the password incorrectly, and if I had, it would have prompted me an error. Do you want to configure an SMTP mail server for this host? I'm going to say no because I will not be using that in my environment. You now see that the platform configuration is complete. You'll click OK. The network settings will be validated and the installation will proceed. I'm going to pause the video here and we'll resume it once the installation has completed, and we'll continue provisioning of the platform from within the web interface.